Bryan, also known as bryanwolfpackage, is an absolute man-child, and undoubtedly the worst person to have run the Skibidi toilet server, because the way he handled the Skibidi toilet server made a bunch of normal fans feel like they were getting punished just for caring. People weren't doing some crazy coup. They were talking about the same stuff people have been talking about for weeks. The new episodes looking fan-made, the plastic models, the weird invis/boom decisions, why the sound felt unfinished, why the style changed from SFM. That's regular fandom conversation. But the way Bryan talked about it, he turned all of that into the community is complaining. Like he took valid feedback, lumped it in with the actual trolls, and then spoke to everybody like they were all part of one annoying group. And that's the exact thing that set people off. Because it felt like he couldn't tell the difference between someone being toxic and someone saying, hey, this episode kind of looked rushed. Then on top of that, instead of dealing with the people actually making problems, he went straight to locking whole channels, whole sections, because of your actions. Even though a bunch of people in there never spammed, never sent slurs, never attacked anyone, they just said the episode looked bad. So you get this situation where 2 or 3 loud people act up, and then 200 people can't talk. That's why everyone started calling it lazy moderation. It's the easiest button to press, but it punishes the most people. You don't need to nuke the room when you can just kick the guy lighting matches. What made it worse was the way he framed it. He talked like everyone was under the same umbrella. Like the people who were actually being rude and the people who were just disappointed in the episode were the same. That makes normal, respectful users look like the bad guys. And once you do that, it's super easy to say, you sent us hate, even to people who never did. That's why you saw people in chat saying, why is he blaming all of us? Because they genuinely didn't do anything except talk about the show. And the way he uses moderation is backwards. There are a ton of smaller tools on Discord. Slow mode, cooldowns, limiting to 1 episode thread, but he goes straight to full lock. That shuts the door exactly when people want to talk the most, right after a bad episode or right after drama. So it looks less like, I'm keeping things orderly, and more like, I don't want to hear this right now. That's why people called it overreactive or even childish. It stops the conversation instead of managing it. Another thing people didn't like was how personal he made it sound. Stuff like, I'll see when the chat is unlocked doesn't sound like, here's the rule. It sounds like, you get to talk when I say so. That gives off super controlling vibes, especially in a big fandom server where people just want consistent rules. They don't want to feel like they're in somebody's living room and the host is mad. They just want to discuss the show without walking on eggshells. And the biggest logic mistake in all of this is that he treated the reaction as the problem instead of the thing that caused the reaction. The server only explodes like that when the content is shaky, when the episode looks fan-made, when sound is missing, when the engine change isn't explained, when there's goofy invis stuff. That's why people talk. That's normal. But his tone was more like, the talking is the problem. No. The talking is what happens when people care. If the episode had dropped looking clean and SFM level, there wouldn't even be a flame up to moderate. What really rubbed people the wrong way was when he said stuff like, we're not paid to deal with that, because that basically tells the community, we're not going to take the time to target the actual rule breakers, but we will lock everyone. So you have time to use the biggest, most annoying power on everybody, but you don't have time to do the smaller fair actions? Of course that looks bad. It makes it seem like he wants quiet more than he wants a healthy server. And when people told him, hey, locking everyone isn't fixing it, there wasn't really a public, okay, that was a bit much. Even a tiny, yeah, that was a wide lock, next time we'll just mute the guys spamming, would have calmed half the server. But because there was no real acknowledgement, it looked stubborn. It looked like he can't admit overreach. And when an admin can't admit overreach, everyone starts thinking, okay, so you actually do think we're the problem. That's why it felt insulting. A lot of the people talking weren't haters. They were trying to protect the series. They don't want episode 80 to look like the plastic one. They don't want Titan Speakerman ruined. They don't want the main show to look like fan-made edits. That criticism was love for the series. So when that got labeled as complaining, it hit wrong. It sounded like, "Shut up, you're all being dumb," which is the fastest way to make your most loyal people leave. And the funniest part is the community literally told him what they actually wanted. Hit the real toxic people harder, add better bots, have more mods around during episode releases, and please communicate about style changes. Instead, they got channel locks. That's why people called it temporary and lazy, because it didn't fix the source, it just muted the noise. Let's go over some of the toxic behavior of Bryan now, shall we? Bryan's behavior in the server shows a bunch of toxic traits that have made people frustrated and fed up with how things are run. Over time, his way of handling the community has turned from leadership into control. Instead of listening, he shuts people down. Instead of fixing problems, he blames others. Here's what's been going on. First, Bryan does a lot of gaslighting. That means he twists what people say so it looks like they're the problem. When fans talk about real issues, like bad episode quality, long release times, or confusing stuff with Einviz and Boom, he calls it complaining or hate. That's not fair. People aren't trying to attack anyone. They just want things to get better. But Bryan makes it seem like everyone who gives feedback is toxic, which makes people doubt themselves or stay quiet. He also does blame shifting. Whenever the server has problems, he doesn't take responsibility. He puts it on the fans. He says things like, "We're unpaid, so we won't deal with this," or "The chat was locked because of your actions." Instead of admitting that moderation could be better, he blames the entire community for the mess. It's like he's allergic to accountability. Another huge issue is authoritarian control. Bryan acts like the server belongs only to him. He decides when chats open or close and uses phrases like, "I'll see when the chat is unlocked." That gives off total control freak vibes. Instead of using slower chat mode or warning the few people causing issues, he locks everyone out. It's basically saying, "You can all stop talking until I feel like letting you again." That's not good moderation. It's power tripping. Because of that, Bryan constantly uses collective punishment. A few users mess up and everyone pays the price. People who didn't break a single rule get punished right along with the troublemakers. That makes the whole community feel helpless. It's unfair and lazy, like giving detention to the whole class because one person threw a paper ball. Then there's his lack of accountability. When people call him out for being too strict or unfair, he never apologizes or admits fault. There's no, "Yeah, maybe that was too much." He just doubles down and acts like he's always right. That kind of attitude kills trust fast. People stop believing he'll ever change. Bryan also shows dismissiveness and arrogance. He tells users things like, "We shall simply not deal with this," which sounds like he doesn't care at all about what people are saying. Even his "enjoy your 7-day break" message after locking the server felt sarcastic and tone-deaf. It's like he's mocking people instead of trying to calm them down. On top of that, Bryan's decisions seem to come from emotional reactivity instead of logic. Whenever people criticize new episodes, he instantly locks the chat. It's like he can't handle negative feedback without taking it personally. That makes moderation unstable. People never know when they'll suddenly lose their voice in the server. His constant chat locks also show information control. Whenever there's controversy or backlash, he just shuts down the conversation instead of letting people discuss what happened. That kind of censorship doesn't fix problems, it just makes people angrier and spreads rumors. You can't build a healthy community by muting everyone. Bryan also uses manipulative framing. He always paints himself and the staff as the victims and the community as the attackers. That's dishonest because a lot of fans are just trying to help by pointing out real issues. By twisting the story this way, he keeps control of the narrative while making others look bad. There's also inconsistency in how he acts. One moment he's scolding everyone and locking channels. The next, he's casually posting birthday messages or pretending everything's fine. That flip-flop makes him seem fake, like he wants to act friendly after causing chaos without owning up to it. And because of all this, Bryan's leadership has alienated loyal members. Longtime users say the server isn't the same anymore. People who used to love the community now feel scared to speak up or tired of the constant silence. The space that was once fun and active now feels controlled and defensive. As I am writing this, the Skibidi toilet server is still locked and no one can send messages. So join my Discord server if you want to talk about Skibidi toilet stuff.